Be dumb, 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 to become dumb. Be dumb, dumb.
In the Krishna book, when Brahma gets bewildered by Krishna's pastimes, or even all the Gopa and Gopis do not perceive Krishna as Supreme Personality of God, all the Brajabasis were like perceiving Krishna like a small boy.
Yeah. Krishna is bewildering both conditioned and even liberated souls.
Then all demons were also not perceiving Krishna as Supreme Personality of God.
Demons are also bewildered by Krishna. Okay, good. Every action of the Lord is bewildering to the common man. And he cannot be understood by the Vedic nose, but he can be easily understood by the pure devotees because they are intimately related with him. Anyone knows where this is from? What's that? Natastu kovati sadavatsara santagamya vayarathapi. No, that's a little bit different. Anyway, there is another verse from Brahma Samhita which says that the Lord can only be understood by the power of Bhakti, not by knowledge. And of course, there is another verse in Bhagavad Gita, also often quoted by Srila Prabhupada, which is 1154. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavam yasyasmi tattvata. That I can only be understood by the power of pure devotional service, as I am standing before you. So Krishna cannot be understood theoretically. Okay. And then, yes, some evidence is given how demons and demigods become bewildered by Krishna. Brahma became bewildered and gopis bewilderment. Indra became bewildered, thinking of Krishna as ordinary boy. Yes. Any other examples of bewilderment? Modern examples of bewilderment.
Mother Yashoda bewildered.
Mother Yashoda.
Look and the.
Yeah. Seeing universe in Krishna's mouth became bewildered. Okay. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Was not all only by his pure devotees are intimately associated or perceived like Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everybody else
as Supreme Lord also became bewildered. Okay, more recent examples. I have one interesting that one devotee is showing the picture of Rasayana killing Hiranyakashipu to one Christian lady, and she says, "Who is this?" And the devotee says, "Well, this is the Supreme Lord." And she says, "But who is that monster who is killing the Supreme Lord?" So she confused Hiranyakashipu to be the Supreme Lord. And Nrsimhadev for a monster who is killing God. Probably it's coming from Christian idea that God is suffering on the cross, and so God torn away by some monster. So, bewilderment. Taking God for a demon and demon for God. It's interesting. Any other examples of bewilderment?
Hiranyaksha and Krishna in form of the boar, the demons fighting against different.
Yeah, Hiranyaksha is bewildered by the word Bhakti, thinking that he can kill him.
Krishna in the form of young Brahma, the Vamanadev.
Vamanadev bewildering Bali Maharaj. Nrsimhadev. Bewildering Hiranyakashipu.
Didn't recognize him.
Okay. Couldn't figure out who he is.
Krishna Bhakti Govardhan.
Krishna living Govardhan.
Even Lakshmi Devi was not sure if Hiranyakashipu is
Nrsimhadev.
is her like husband or not.
Okay, even Lakshmi Devi being bewildered by Nrsimhadev. Right. Moving to the modern times, any modern examples of bewilderment? First time Shama Sundar Prabhu is coming to Moscow with Srila Prabhupada, and they knew that it is dangerous to take any books, religious books with them, so they decided not to take, but Malati put Bhagavad Gita in Shama Sundar Prabhu's bag, suitcase, hand luggage. And when they were passing through the customs, one custom officer, he saw that Bhagavad Gita, and Shamasundar became very scared that now they caught me with Bhagavad Gita, I'll go to jail. And he said, what is this? And so this officer took the book and opened it, but it had many pictures of Krishna inside, like postcards and things. And they all came out and dropped on the floor. And that custom officer became so embarrassed that he dropped things. That he went to the ground, he started picking up the pictures. And Shamasundar Prabhu started picking up the pictures. And then custom officer said, okay, you go. Because he was so embarrassed that he dropped things, so he said, okay, you go. Didn't stop him. So Krishna played the trick. I think that was the Bhagavad Gita which was given to Ananta Shanti.
Yeah.
Prabhu was telling a story from Moscow also, 90s, still like communist regime. He was singing Hare Krishna in this Kalinka Malinka style, and he was stopped, what you're doing. Oh, this is like Kalinka Malinka in Sanskrit. So it's also singing Hare Krishna in this Russian melody.
Who was saying that?
Prabhu.
Huh?
Prabhu.
Oh, Printu Prabhu.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And he was like, oh, this is like Russian melodies, like Kalinka Malinka in Sanskrit.
I see. Kalinka Malinka in Sanskrit. Okay. Yeah. Also, I saw one video from Dworkin, who who is famous anti-cult leader in Russian Orthodox Church. And he said, I cannot understand how Srila Prabhupada first was allowed into Russia because KGB knew that he is the leader of very big cult, right? And second, and which is even more strange, how Srila Prabhupada was allowed to preach to Russian people, because in Russia at the time it was very tightly controlled. Foreigners were not allowed to mix with local people. But somehow they had some oversight that he preached to Russians. And he said, this is impossible. But, KGB security levels, how could they allow this? And he said, my only conclusion is that actually Srila Prabhupada had an agreement with communist government in Russia to introduce Krishna consciousness and destroy the Orthodox Church. So it was the plot, Srila Prabhupada's plot, to destroy the Orthodox Church by spreading Krishna consciousness, and communists helped him. Yeah, because it's really inconceivable, right? How Srila Prabhupada could go unchecked and preach like that. But because he doesn't believe in Krishna, he couldn't understand. He's only calculating materially how this is possible.
My mother was also thinking that Srila Prabhupada is KGB agent.
Who was thinking?
My mother.
Okay.
In his mission is to destroy Ukraine. Because the first Bhagavad Gita he got was like in Russian. It's okay, Srila Prabhupada is a Russian agent. And the mission is to destroy Ukrainian culture. So the next step will give you like Ukrainian Bhagavad Gita, and now she's satisfied. But also like how could Srila Prabhupada preach in Russia in that time, so he must be an agent. And then she was like listening to Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu and okay, he's well trained by KGB because the way he's speaking and attracting people, it must be a technique, KGB technique.
Your mother.
And my mother is like.
Okay, yeah.
She was deeply analyzing how could this movement spread it much? It must be KGB behind.
Yeah. Many people mistake devotees for KGB agents or some secret service agents. Some people thought it's KGB agents in India. They were thinking devotees are CIA agents, etc. And so to dispel that idea that they're secret service agents, devotees never come on time, they're always late for all the programs. Because secret service agents will never be late, right? Because they're very punctual. And so people understand, no, these people cannot be secret service agents. Because they're so disorganized. It's like the story how my spiritual master came to Israel for the first time with Mother Haridas Prabhu and other devotees. He brought maybe 15 people with him when he came to Israel first time and last time. And they all flew from Poland straight after the Polish tour. And they have no idea how strict the Israeli Secret Service is. And even before they boarded the flight, they were interrogated by the Secret Service agents of the Arab airline, and they were taken into different rooms and they were asked questions, like where are you going and what are you going to do in Israel? And they were saying, oh, we are like practicing yoga, going to Israel to do some yoga. Because you cannot lie to the secret services. You have to say the truth, but they didn't want to say we are Hare Krishna, so they were saying, okay, well, we're just going to do yoga. And they said, okay, that what are the names of your friends you're going to be visiting in Israel? And they had no idea, because devotees know each other by spiritual names. They have no idea what are the legal names. So they said, we don't know. And they said, these are your friends and you don't know their names. And they said, oh, it's like we know the yoga names. We have, kind of different type of yoga, but people are getting yoga names. They said, okay, but what is in your luggage? No, they were saying that, who are the members of your group? Do you know each other? And they said, we know each other. What are the names of other people in your group? And they also had no idea of legal names of each other. Like how many years you know this person? 30 years. Do you know what's his name? What's his name? No. Secret Service. What's that?
We had no time to know each other for 30 years.
Yeah. And then they were asking, okay, so can you show us your luggage? And they opened the luggage and they say, why do you carry all these bed sheets with you? This is okay, we have to have these bed sheets for yoga. And why your bed sheets are different color? You have saffron bed sheet and he has white bed sheet. And each of them was in separate room and they were interrogated like that. And later they realized that they could not answer one question. Not even one question. And Bhakti Haridas Prabhu says, after that, they concluded that we cannot be terrorists because we are so spaced out, knowing absolutely nothing. Okay, they said, okay, we go. Like that. So materialistic people completely bewildered by the devotees. Who are these guys? Which world they came from? Okay, so no one can understand Krishna and devotees, and yet we want to spread Krishna consciousness.
And that story about you when you crossed Singapore,
Yeah.
also Krishna saw this woman was
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah, it was funny. Crossing the borders and she checked my passport and she never looked at my face. Because I was dressed in devotee dress with tilak. And I completely forgot to change. And if she would look at me, she would blacklist me and bar me from entering Singapore. And so I was praying so hard. And then she never looked at my face. And this is like complete breach of their standards, because they have to compare face on the picture with the real face. But she never looked at me. Okay, so moving to the application part, Krishna is bewildering, devotees are bewildering, and yet we want to educate everyone about the Krishna consciousness and help everyone to understand Krishna consciousness and appreciate it. So what to do? How do we do it? Seems to be mission impossible.
Because of prasada.
Prasadam was also bewildering, by the way.
Yeah.
Prasadam was even more bewildering because one Russian businessman, he tried prasadam and he sent his assistant and he said, I want this guy to learn how to cook your food. And devotees led him into the kitchen, even with some basic cleanliness standards. And they were showing him how to cook, and he was very curious about spices. And he was asking, what is this spice, or what is that spice? And devotees were explaining. And then he said, do they have some spice which is like drug? Devotees said, no. He said, well, you don't put any drugs in your food? Devotees said, no, no drugs. But then he said, why all your food is so intoxicating if there are no drugs? And he said, actually, and devotees had to explain, it's only because we're offering it to Krishna. And then he said, actually we were convinced that you're putting some drug into the food and we were trying to find out which drug you use. Like that. Prasadam was also bewildering.
So everyone is bewildered by Krishna because people in the material world, they have no devotion. Therefore, we can try to inspire people to have some positive appreciation of devotees and Krishna. So it's like Agyata Sukriti, and then they can realize who is Krishna. Krishna can reveal himself to the people. But
Okay.
now you have no such good
Reputation.
appreciation or reputation.
Okay, it's a good idea to create some positive reputation for the devotees and make people interested in Krishna consciousness because of that, which unfortunately we don't have now. Yeah, that's problems which ISKCON had are seriously affecting people's appreciation and even interest in Krishna consciousness. So, what to do?
And people become more bewildered because of our activities. They don't believe in Krishna. They think it's exotic God, exotic religion, so everything exotic. We cannot appreciate. So we do it in opposite way.
Okay.
Opposite result sometimes.
Yes.
Only strange people can appreciate Krishna consciousness.
Okay. Nowadays only strange people can appreciate Krishna
Or
consciousness.
drunk people can appreciate our
Drunk.
harinams.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's true that last time we did Harinam here in Munich, right? And no one stopped except a couple of bombs. People were like, oh, something interesting happening. So these kind of people become attracted to Krishna consciousness.
So it means we have to present Krishna consciousness in more attractive and understandable way for people.
Less bewildering.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Alright, how do we do that?
Like in the Yuma Swarmaj does. Like in the Yuma Swarmaj does with the festivals.
Okay.
In a very cultural, very attractive way.
Okay, in the Maharaja's festival is a bright spot. Good example. Anything else?
We make stage program here.
Okay.
People come, das ist everything authorized and police is there.
for the
People
bewildered
give
people.
some question. No? People,
Well, this for the bewildered people.
the people is not bewildered.
Okay.
This is normal. This is all okay. You stay here, everything.
Okay, have stage programs
Yeah.
here as well. Good.
Yeah, by showing the example, good example to people, how to live pure life, healthy life, and be gentlemen, so people will attract natural constants.
Be a good example for others.
By good qualities, yeah.
Hmm?
By good qualities, showing good qualities.
Okay.
People are
Have
very
good
like
qualities.
attracted to you as a person, and then by close association are open to know about the lifestyle.
Okay, good.
I come today inside and from outside and go in the lift. Und one woman, ja, mit Zigaretten and this come down and the door open and she sieht me like this, yeah. Put out everything and ja, guten Tag. See, but this is not so. Should be a little bit anders, like not like this, with cigar and omen. Also,
Okay, when people see you, they behave nicely. Good.
Yesterday I was observing very interesting situation how Krishna, for a soul who is ready to get in contact with Krishna consciousness, like creating an atmosphere for this. Yesterday we made kuntis for the daughter Anna, and this is a friend of mine who has jeweler store, and she's, because it was too long, she was making it short, like small service. And Ananda Manjari was accompanying me, and we start conversation and about Bhagavad Gita, we were studying philosophy and Bhagavad Gita. Oh, I know Bhagavad Gita and Arjuna. Okay. Oh, and I went to was big yoga festival, not Marrakesh, in India. And Rasayana Swami was giving a lecture there. Oh, I've been to this lecture and was writing on this prospect, Journey Home, the book. And then I mentioned, oh, this is my spiritual master. And so I saw how Krishna is arranging for this soul was ready to get on the path of devotional, like Krishna consciousness, all the circumstances. She went to this yoga festival just for fun, was on a lecture, she memorized Rasayana Swami, was making a note of his book, and like 3 weeks later, a devotee of Rasayana Swami, Ananda Manjari, went to this store with me to pick up these kuntis, and we had like conversation for 3 hours, and it ended up, I have in this book, I bring this book for her to read, now she's open for this, and I said, wow, Krishna, how you're arranging all this, all around, and the person who took this lady to India is also the yoga teacher of Ananda Manjari, so they had similar topics to discuss, so it was such a nice conversation, and I said, wow, Krishna, how you're arranging all this.
Good. So Krishna is arranging to bring people
Yes.
to him.
And she didn't know where devotees and who are devotees, but she's already making service. And wow, this is Krishna, this is amazing how you're like arranging all this. And then Kelly was giving me this journey home many years ago, and was laying some in my storage, and wow, this is the purpose of this book now. So now it's can make service.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
The hungry devotee.
we should be happy. We should be happy and nature.
Natural. Naturally happy. Okay.
And then there's no problem.
thinking in regards to this verse is that the Lord is appearing in so many different forms, as a man, as an animal, and I was thinking about different religions, like God appeared to the Moses as a burning bush, and he appeared to the Muhammad as person behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And Muhammad only heard his voice, but he wouldn't see his face. And so the Lord is appearing to different personalities and in different religions, in different forms. And people are bewildered because they don't understand it's the same Supreme Lord who has unlimited forms and can display his personality in unlimited ways. And they're bewildered. They think that there are many gods, and they fight with each other, trying to establish whose God is real and whose God is not real. So how do we help people to overcome this bewilderment?
But actually they're fighting not because of God, they hate each other. So mostly they don't like people from other religion. They are way their spiritual process.
Okay, interesting. Yes.
I think the point is that people in another religion, they worship the fear than love. The main point is when the person is worshipping the fear, they're bringing the aggressiveness in their hands. But when they have the love of Bhakti, they don't have any place for the hating someone.
Okay.
The modern religion is like everyone's should have the fear. When you do something, you will have punishment. You will do. Doesn't matter. It's any religion.
Okay, interesting. Fear creates hatred.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So there should be love. So what do we do? How do we help people to overcome religious bewilderment?
To find some universal principles united all the religions.
They exist already, we understand, but what do we do? How do we help people focus on principles and not worry so much about the details, because different religions are fighting over some details, and we don't even have to step outside of our tradition. We don't even have to kind of step outside of the realm of Srila Prabhupada followers to see how people can hate each other over details. Like, for example, ISKCON and Critics. I was thinking how funny it was, because they went to the court to fight in the court, and even the Supreme Judge was bewildered, because he said, "What are you fighting over?" And each was saying they interpret Krishna consciousness in a different way. So he said, "What's the interpretation? That what are you trying to prove?" And ISKCON people were saying, "We're trying to prove." No, critics were saying that we're trying to prove that Srila Prabhupada should be the main person. And ISKCON devotees were saying, but we're also trying to prove that Srila Prabhupada is the main person. And then Ritiks were saying, but we want everyone to be initiated only on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. And ISKCON devotees were saying, and we will also want people to be initiated on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. And the judge was, he said, seems like it's exactly the same. What's the difference? What are you fighting over? And it all boils down, how do you call a person who is initiating people on behalf of Srila Prabhupada? Is it Ritik Guru or Diksha Guru? So the whole thing is over one word, Ritik. That's all. Everything else is the same. And they're spending like millions. Ambarish Prabhu said, they spent so much money about this court case that it would be, Temple of Vedic Planetarium would be finished a long time ago if all this money would go into the temple construction rather than fighting in the court for the sake of one word. Everything else is the same. Same God, same Guru, same process, just one word different. And people are ready to kill each other for one word.
Yeah, you say this story with Orthodox women. Push out and something to find, what not combine, what not go together, and then.
But actually they are fighting for position, for authority, to be
Yeah.
authority.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about religions. They fighting for the right to represent God to other people and control other people's minds. So it's interesting that in all these religious fights people don't care about God. They just want positions.
So we have to find common enemies and unite against this enemy.
Okay, yes. People want enemies, so we should find some common enemy. So who could be the common enemy?
Maya.
Maya, okay. Yes.
Demoniac or materialistic style of life is our enemy.
Yeah. Materialism, atheism.
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi.
Yes.
And some result of this materialistic life as well, like in London. So we united together with other spiritual group against this knife crime. So Krishna helps us through Maya to give us horrible things we've faced.
Okay, yes. Working together to combat common problems like knife crime in London. Good. Alright. Anything else we have on the subject?
You give the knowledge, you give the books, science books about God.
Okay, giving people books on spiritual knowledge.
And we have become closer to God personally, so we become more pure, and then we can inspire others.
Okay, if we become more close to God and more pure, we can inspire other people. Good.
Not be fanatical.
Okay. Not to be fanatics. Okay, so how do we do that?
Not cultivating false ego.
Not cultivating false ego. That is even more difficult. How not to cultivate false ego? Because it's interesting, we know what to do and what not to do, but practically speaking, we can see that problems are still there, despite of all the knowledge.
Chant, chant, chant. Not with offense.
Okay. Another 50 years of chanting, hoping that something might change.
Yeah, you say to go to government, to work to government, to make the Varnashram.
Okay, yes, work on one Russian, establishing partnership with government programs. All right. Finishing, or anything else?
I was just following with 1 year the conversation. The Srila Prabhupada was inspiring people to stay in their religion, but to become a real Christian and a real Muslim, and us to be real Vaishnavas. So just to inspire people to really follow the instructions and respect all the religious scriptures, because they're really given by God, but to be true, followers of the tradition.
Yeah, that's...
And that not trying to convince people to change their religion, but to become real Christian, real Muslims.
Yeah, that could improve our reputation if we become non-proselytizing group.
Because otherwise they're trying to fight with us, they're going contra, because they're afraid our aim is to convince them to become Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada was making very nicely and very diplomatic, inspiring in his conversation with Christian priests. Just be true priest, truly follow what Jesus was preaching.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that we try so hard to convince people to take up the Krishna consciousness, and we propagate Krishna consciousness in every possible way, and so few people are interested even to know about Krishna consciousness, what to speak of becoming devotees. At the same time, opposite example is Freemasons, and they do not propagate anything, and if somebody wants to know anything, they say, no, we're a secret society, and so not everyone is allowed, and if you want to learn anything, you have to pass many tests, and you have to pay a lot of money to learn anything about Freemasonry, and want to speak of becoming initiated and be accepted as part of this group. And everybody talks about Freemasons, right? Everyone knows Freemasons, everybody talks about them. So it's kind of, seems to be human psychology that the more you try to push something, the more people resist. But the more you say, no, it's not for everybody, then, people say, oh, I'm not everybody. I don't want to be everybody. And then one of my friends, he's quite well known preacher. He's regional secretary for Nepal. His name is Patri. And he said the previous management, they were doing this, blanket preaching, attracting anyone and everyone to come to the temple. And so, yeah, people coming, people joining, becoming devotees. But then he said when he became a leader there, he was focusing on high-level people and inviting them to the temple. But then he said they faced almost impossible dilemma that when these high-level people came and they saw their own workers sitting and taking prasadam in the temple. And so for them, you know, he's like the boss, big man, and for him to sit with his own workers and take prasadam is almost impossible. Or to even come to the place where, you know, his own workers are going. So that's a little strange for people. So I was thinking, you know, by attracting low-class people, we actually effectively closing the doors for high-class people to even take interest in Krishna consciousness. Good to think of. If these kind of people are taking part, so that's definitely not for me. I have nothing to do with it. Which is sad.
I guess I was listening to lectures to Srila Prabhupada. He was saying that actually Krishna consciousness is for most intelligent people in the society, and we have to attract these most intelligent people to train them to spread the highest like knowledge. So I think this is for the elite.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big question, how to make Krishna consciousness attractive to the most intelligent people.
And another option, we have to create good families and attract pure souls for our movement, giving birth to the devotees from previous lives. And we have to provide for our kids something that they can develop in Krishna consciousness and professionally.
Like Gurukuls?
Like Gurukul's idea, but now doesn't work properly because after Gurukuls they cannot engage themselves like Harikirtan, son of Dinasharana Maharaj. So he doesn't know what to do. He has some profession like a designer, and he got this profession because he stepped out of Krishna consciousness for a few years. But in Krishna consciousness, we consider any professional education as Maya.
What is actually said, because how we can be useful then for Krishna consciousness without any professional skills. Even to paint a temple skill, or to make something good like Paramatma Krishna does, like actually we're looking for professionally skilled, trained people in connection with Krishna consciousness. But,
Yes.
this is true. Yeah, I guess the one that was more experience with Gurukul, they have more professional training, and after this.
And we're looking for intelligent and professional people. We try to reach them, but our kids don't allow to get good education. But our kids already devotees, maybe, probably from previous lives.
For sure, yeah.
So, and they're non-educated.
Because if they're well educated, they get in association with like people in high classes, and then like in many rich Indians in UK mainly, attracting like high class people because they're like devotees and they're like well situated.
Yeah. And this program in UK call, how it's called for second generation, Pandavasena. This more progressive and best way to educate Krishna consciousness kids. They give them professional education, trainings, and help them to find a job. They become bankiers or businessmen.
Because it's also big point, if they build the families, they have no knowledge and background, they cannot sustain even their families. Actually, Prabhupada was stressing them, Grihastra have to have money and house and all this, then they cannot support the families and brahmacharis and sannyasis. So professional education is like a must for Grihastras actually, because they have to have money to sustain the family.
Yeah.
And if you try to do something valuable, we take our professional skills from times before Krishna consciousness, like Srila Prabhupada. We every day we talking about that Srila Prabhupada was a businessman and he created small society on this basement of proper business.
Yes.
Therefore, so we need these skills actually.
How he was negotiating for Mumbai temple for the ground, and in Mayapur they were buying huge places and properties. All this requires like knowledge. This is very good point because our view is also like this. To give like an association with devotees and help them in Krishna consciousness, but at the same time educate well, especially here we have like speak in German, give nice education and professional background and combine this.
Yesterday we talked about spiritual schools. Two Mataji's program, they are like nurses in kindergarten. So, and that's this example of Avanti school in UK, so devotional school, is good, and would be good if we have also devotional or colleges from devotees, universities from devotees.
But actually Krishna is behind everything. It means when you can present mass other, because Krishna has created all this. This is just the way how Krishna has created this. Like, so Krishna in a mass in physics and chemistry, it's all Krishna's creation actually. You just study how Krishna has created all this. No separation between spiritual knowledge and material knowledge, because even all this is Krishna's creation.
I have a question. Who says that the devotee cannot, the son of, I don't know, this devotee cannot find his place in this world because he left this world for a few years and he came back. The point is, when he was in Google, I've seen I was in India. I've seen the kids in the local kids. Too many kids from which is they graduate from Google. They hated school. They don't want to come back. They're dealing all the time with drug dealers in Vrindavan and all the time. And in my case, I joined school 10 years old. I was a small boy. But I was in the ISKCON and the Academy life. Same time, and I was learning how to fight with these people. Staying in the temple, but fighting with this, and I walk with this consciousness. So I can't compare my life with the cool guys. It's different. And I've seen this at how they grow up. These guys in Vrindavan, they have everything, and they have it's so easy to get drugs in India. They have some few Indian friends, and evening times, no parents, no one control them. They call them they're doing everything. It's different.
Yeah. it also works. It's also psychology. If there is too much restriction, then they don't want to follow, right? So because they're trained in such a strict way, they want to have time off Krishna consciousness. That's often happening.
And better if our schools will be under control of government. In this case, we have no such strange case like in Gurukulas, because it's impossible in the West. Some violent or something like that. When we try to create our own system, it doesn't work properly.
Oh, this, like the school system is already well organized, just push Krishna consciousness in this, so use the already existing bicycle and just Krishna consciousness touch. Just to see all this starting like Krishna's creation. But I guess we need families, which are like the foster families, because we have to give a chance for the devotees to finish this way, go back to Godhead. This is a bit hungry.
Good. Yes, many things are not properly organized. So a lot of work to do to apply Srila Prabhupada's philosophy in real life.
Everybody should work on ourselves to be pure devotees. Everybody should work on self to be pure devotee. That's the first thing.
Good. Everyone should become pure devotee.
Let it be.
Is the solution?
This is work. This is heavy work.
Is the solution proposed by Paramatma Krishna Prabhu? Good. All right. So, shall we stop and continue tomorrow?
Maybe you have some
Concluding remarks. Yes, as I say that two things have to be our focus. One is interfaith partnership, and the other one is government programs, becoming part of the government programs, and for both things we have to be professional. So for me, professional means Madhyama, because Madhyama means one who knows how to properly behave with everyone. And so if devotee is not professional, he remains Kanishta, fanatical and, very imbalanced. And sometimes, yes, that I think Narahari Prabhu mentioned that sometimes we have crazy people coming to this movement, and because we don't have these professional standards in Krishna consciousness, sometimes they present their craziness as spiritual ecstasy or raganuga or something. And so yes, that's also true that if there is no professional standard in Krishna consciousness, then the problems will continue, because many times problems are created by crazy people.
crazy people will put his standard.
Yes. Yeah, you could not establish proper standard, and crazy people will establish their standard.
What happened is all problems is about this.
Yeah. So yes, professionalism and then partnership. 2P. Professionalism and partnership. This is what we need to focus on. And, of course, our humble attempt to contribute to these solutions is our Mayapur ideal training school. Innovative development to empower authentic leadership. So that's the acronym, ideal. So yeah, think of a new way how Krishna consciousness could and should be introduced properly, in an attractive way. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jai Guru Premanandi.
Bhakti Rasayana Sagar Mахарадж ki jai.
Samareta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Хорошо. Супер.